You can change the chapters in the book of your life if you want to. Wake up. I'm not casual. I want to win. You're too damn casual. You could change your life. You could change your family forever. It's not casual. You meet somebody wealthy, their family at one point was not wealthy. And then the one shows up. The one. One person changes the family tree forever. In my family, I'm the one. And it wasn't because I wanted it or I hoped for it. Right? I fought for it. I want to win. I want to fight for my family. I want my mom and dad proud of me. I want my kids proud of me. I want me proud of me. I want to look in the mirror and be happy with the man I look back at. That he gave it everything. That he went for it. Most people's dreams can be bought. With enough failure, with enough rejection, they can't still fight. They can get a little bit, but when it gets a little too hot, they go, boom, sold, buy the dream. You can have it. It's not worth it to me. And their will to win is buyable. You can buy it. Some of you will sell your win for some failure. You're probably buyable. But if you decide at this meeting, my will cannot be bought. I don't care how long it takes, you can't buy this dude out. I'll keep fighting for my family. I'm the one. I'm going to change my family tree forever. That's the decision. Decide now. You're going to keep negotiating the price, or can you not be bought?
Most people suffer. What if I was in India recently? I have a dear friend there named Krishna Ji, and I was sitting down with him, and he said, Tony, you know, you teach, if somebody's high energy, they come up with different meanings. Life's different. You call it a peak state. Or if somebody's really low energy, they can't get themselves started. They think everybody's a jerk. They think they're a jerk. And he said, those states affect everything. He said, but instead of peak state, low state, or high energy, low energy, what if you called that every day in our life we live in one of two states? We're either in a state of suffering or we're in a beautiful state. So let's talk about those. I would have never said I'm suffering, right? Remember, I'm an achiever. But as beautiful as my life was, I'd be so happy, and then something would happen and I would feel stressed. Because suffering is stress, or suffering is feeling worried. Suffering is concern. Suffering is over-caring, where you're caring so much for your kids or your family that you're stressed out so much and you don't even get to feel them. Suffering could be feeling sad, feeling lonely, feeling depressed, feeling angry, feeling pissed off. And a year and a half ago, if you'd asked me, I would have said, no, I don't suffer, but yeah, I get pissed off and frustrated. It's part of life. Here's what I found out. It's not part of life. It's the mind. Listen to me now. This brain you and I have is 2 million years old. And as a result of that, we're in a position in our lives where this thing is survival software. It was designed 2 million years ago that when a saber-toothed tiger came, you were either going to fight it or you're going to run as fast as you could, fight or flight. And this software is still running in our brains 2 million years later when there are no saber-toothed tigers. So now we have a life and death reaction to, what do people think about me? Maybe I need to take 21 pictures and find the right one and put the right filter to put it on Facebook so people will like me and think I'm good. I mean, we live in such a crazy world that way. Or do I have enough money? And if you live in North America and you're in poverty, you're the 1% of the world. See, I don't want you to be in poverty, but let's be real. You can only build on success. If you're in poverty in these countries, you literally the 1%. Half the world lives on $2.50 a day, $900 a year. And yet people go around suffering, thinking they don't have enough, when most people are having their life, your life, if you're watching me right now and you're capable, you have access to a computer and the internet, having this, your worst nightmare is somebody else's biggest dream in the world. Would you agree?
Okay, here's the formula for failure and here's the formula for success. Formula for failure, number one, a few errors in judgment repeated every day. We call that the formula for failure. A few errors in judgment repeated every day. Now, why would you repeat an error in judgment the second day? Reason, failure doesn't occur at the end of the first day. If it did, it would be helpful, because then you wouldn't do that anymore. But errors in judgment are so subtle because they don't usually show their results until for a while. But a few errors in judgment repeated every day, and sure enough, you're way off course. Now, here's all you got to do is to turn that around. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. A few simple disciplines practiced every day starts to create success. Not at the end of the first day, The first day is the end of a new beginning. The first day. That you started a new track, that you started a new direction. So we must all speak the truth. So affirm the truth. Yes, affirm God is good. Yes, affirm life is full of possibilities. Yes, affirm all the truthful possibilities. But you don't need to try to trick yourself into saying something is okay when it isn't okay. Some people say every day in every way I'm getting better and better. And if that's not true, see, that we call that delusion. If it's not true. If it is true, then it's wonderful, it's fabulous. We should celebrate. But if it's not true, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. See, if that's not true, then it is an affirmation that's destructive. So just affirm the truth. The truth is I lack some skills to multiply my income by 10, which I wish to do in the future. I need to learn the skills. Affirm that you don't have the skills, so that it'll drive you to get the skills because you want to multiply your income by 10. Yes, it is true. All things are possible to the believer. It is true. Errors in judgment lead to devastation. We don't just need the truth. We need the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Here's what we don't need. Delusion. You don't need delusion in order to try to make something out of nothing. All you need is this simple little formula to imagine, because imagination is so powerful. It's the beginning of creating all things that we see. Then faith to believe it's possible. It says what? With faith, everything's possible. Without faith, nothing is possible. So it's a good study to make, creating faith to believe it's possible. But now we deposit faith and imagination into muscle, into discipline. Michelangelo was a genius, but it wasn't his genius that created this famous sculpture. But his genius was so strong and he believed in it so thoroughly that he picked up the chisel and the hammer. And it was the muscle and the chisel and the hammer that created the sculpture. And without the discipline, there would be no sculpture. But if you take your genius, if you take your ideas and your inspiration and your excitement and translate it into muscle, if you want good health, you can study every book there is, and you can believe that it's possible to be healthy. But until you fall on the floor and start doing the push-ups, until you jog around the block, right? Until you start working on your good health, working and laboring. Labor pains, we call it. You know, I'm short on personal experience on that, but the mothers in the room would tell us what? It's a unique experience. But why would an upcoming potential mother be willing to put herself through a rather painful experience of giving birth? Here's why. It creates new life. So add this to your repertoire of good ideas. New life only comes from labor. Now, some people try to create it with affirmation, but it doesn't work. New life only comes from labor. That's why we should devote most of our time to labor, because it's the miracle creator.
And start to dream. What do you want? What do you really want for your life? Work on yourself. To me, I think there are 3 pillars of what's required in order to carve out your place in this global economy. There are many steps, but there are 3 that I think that's indispensable. One is working on your mind. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The second is of having a mindset and willing to discipline yourself, to make the sacrifice, to engage in ongoing self-study for self-growth and development, developing your communication skills. I can hear Mr. Washington now say, Mr. Brown, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Nelson Mandela said, if you speak from your mind, you speak in a language that a man can understand. But when you speak from your heart, you speak in his language. And so my goal in teaching people how to create mass appeal, how to change lives, that you have to change yourself. It starts with you. And then you begin to see from your experience how you can begin to impact and influence others and be a voice of change. And that ability really will allow you to carve out a place for yourself in the marketplace. And the methods and the techniques, the simplicity of how you language what you say. Einstein said that genius is the capacity to take the complicated and make it simple. And so when you creating change and mass appeal, keeping it simple, but being the message that you bring, and loving it, and standing in your power, and realize that you're here for a reason. I believe to make a difference. I believe to do a great work. I believe to live a life, as Jim Rohn said, when you live your life, he said, your life can be either an example or it's a warning of what not to do, or an example of what to do and what's possible.